Welcome, everyone. Today's Good Friday. It's the day that we remember the death of Jesus. Calling it Good Friday is a little confusing, isn't it? How could something so sad, something so dark, something so infuriating ever be called good? A friend of mine died unexpectedly on Sunday. Her name was Chelsea. I talked with her parents this morning. When the pain of death is so fresh, it's almost never the loving thing to say to that person that God has a plan, or to focus on the good things that might come. Death is in and of itself not good. It cannot be good because death does not come from God. And while a posture of death can be gracious, peaceful, that is not how Jesus died. He was not an old man who drifted off to sleep. He was betrayed by one of his closest friends. He was abandoned by many of his followers, and he was murdered by the state. The only way this Friday can be good is if death is not the end. Good Friday reminds us that the world we live in is broken. It is not the Garden of Eden that God first planted. It is a garden full of weeds and parasites, dead wood and leaves, mold and garbage. And we are in desperate need of a Savior who can clear away the mess and cultivate new, beautiful life. That is what Jesus does for us through his death and resurrection. And it is the only reason something so painful, something so sad and infuriating can be called good. Tonight, as we listen to the story of Jesus' journey towards death, we give thanks to our God who faces shame and humiliation, violence and injustice, pain and even death, so that not even those powers are strong enough to separate us from God's love. Jesus willingly submits himself to these death-dealing forces of the world, so that in his triumph over them, we too can be free of them. Throughout Lent, we have seen the new life God is cultivating within us. This is something that at Knox we've been in a series about, the things that God is cultivating within us. God is cultivating lives of openness, faithfulness, vulnerability, generosity, and gratitude. Tonight we remember that for the whole world to know lives of resurrection that blossom with these gifts of goodness, there must first be death. There can be no Easter without Good Friday. So we're going to hear the story tonight. It's going to be accompanied by some music. most of which will be a way to be able to reflect on the story that we're resonating with. And at the end of tonight's service, the lights are going to dim, and we will conclude in silence. Those of you who are here in person, I want you to really feel this welcome to remain here for as long as you need. No one's going to kick you out. We do ask that when you leave, whenever the time is right for you, that you do so in silence. If there's someone that you want to talk with, please make sure that you do that out in the narthex or even outside the building. For those of you who are joining us from home, I'm going to invite you to create this sanctuary space wherever you are, and for you to be able to remain there for as long as you need as well. One very quick announcement before we begin with the story. For the last several years, the people who live around Corbin Park have had as stations of the cross, which has been really meaningful, at least it has been for my family. And so I just wanted to call that out. It'll be available, it's available right now. It'll be available all day tomorrow. It begins, is this at your house? You okay with me saying the address? Great. It begins at Beth's house, which is 416 West Park Place. Basically, if you go to Corbin Park and just go around, you'll see the stations. It takes about 20 minutes to walk it. I highly encourage you to do that as a nice spiritual discipline between now and Easter. Okay. Let's begin with the story.
Matthew 26, 36 through 46. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he became sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." When he came back, he again found them sleeping, their eyes heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer."
Stay with me, remain here with After Jesus had spoken these words, he went out with his disciples across the Kidron Valley to a place where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew the place, because Jesus often met there with his disciples. So Judas brought a detachment of soldiers together with police from the chief priests and the Pharisees, and they came there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Then Jesus, knowing all that was to happen to him, came forward and asked them, "Whom are you looking for?" They answered, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus replied, "I am he." Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. So the soldiers, their officer, and the Jewish police arrested Jesus and bound him. First, they took him to Annas, who is the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest that year.
mercy on me.
Have mercy on me. Have mercy on me, O Lord. Have mercy, O Lord. Have mercy.
Have mercy on us.
Have mercy on us. Have mercy on us, O Lord. Have mercy, O Lord. Have mercy.
Have mercy on us.
Have mercy on us. Have mercy on us, O Lord. Have mercy, O Lord. Have mercy. Have mercy on us. Have mercy on us, O Lord. Have mercy, O Lord. Have mercy.
Then they seized him and led him away, bringing him into the high priest's house. But Peter was following at a distance. When they had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and sat down together, Peter sat among them. Then a servant girl, seeing him in the firelight, stared at him and said, "This man also was with him." But he denied it, saying, "Woman, I don't know him." A little later, someone else, on seeing him, said, "You also are one of them." But Peter said, "Man, I am not." Then, about an hour later, still another kept insisting, "Surely this man also was with him, for he is a Galilean." But Peter said, "Man, I do not know what you are talking about." At that moment, while he was still speaking, the cock crowed. The Lord turned and looked at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him, "Before the cock crows today, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly.
just the folks I've met and the folks who know me. Will I discover a soul-saving love, or just the dirt above and below me? I'm a doubting Thomas. I took a promise, but I do not feel safe. Oh, me of little faith. Sometimes I pray for a slap in the face, then I beg to be spared, 'cause I'm a coward. There's a master of death, I bet he's holding his breath, as I show the blind and tell the deaf about his power. I'm a doubting Thomas, I can't keep my promises, 'cause I don't know what's safe. Oh, me of little faith. Can I be used to help others find truth? When I'm scared, I'll find proof that it's a lie. Can I be led down a trail, dropping breadcrumbs that prove I'm not ready to die? Please give me time to decipher the signs. Please forgive me for time that I've wasted. I'm a doubting Thomas. I'll take your promise, though I know nothing saves. Oh, me of little faith. Oh, me of little faith.
Then they took Jesus from Caiaphas to Pilate's headquarters. It was early in the morning, and they themselves did not enter the headquarters so as to avoid ritual defilement and to be able to eat the Passover. So Pilate went out to them and said, "What accusation do you bring against this man?" They answered, "If this man were not a criminal, we would not have handed him over to you." Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and judge him according to your law." The Jews replied, "We are not permitted to put anyone to death." This was to fulfill what Jesus had said when he indicated the kind of death he was to die. Then Pilate entered the headquarters again, summoned Jesus, and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you ask this on your own, or did others tell you about me?" Pilate replied, "I am not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and the chief of priests have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not from this world. If my kingdom were from this world, my followers would be fighting to keep me from being handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not from here." Pilate asked him, "So you are a king?" Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice." Pilate asked him, "What is truth?"
Then Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. And the soldiers wove a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And they dressed him in a purple robe. They kept coming up to him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews," and striking him on the face. Pilate went out again and said to them, "Look, I am bringing him out to you to let you know that I find no case against him." So Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. Pilate said to them, "Here is the man." When the chief priests and the police saw him, they shouted, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Pilate said to them, "Take him yourself and crucify him. I find no case against him." They cried out, "Away with him! Away with him! Crucify him!" Pilate asked them, "Shall I crucify your king?" The chief priests answered, "We have no king but the emperor." Then Pilate handed Jesus over to them to be crucified.
So they took Jesus, and carrying the cross by himself, he went out to what is called the place of the skull, which in Hebrew is called Golgotha. There they crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on either side, with Jesus between them. Pilate also had an inscription written and put on the cross. It read, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." When the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his clothes and divided them into 4 parts, one for each soldier. They also took his tunic. The tunic was seamless, woven in one piece from the top. So they said to one another, "Let's not tear it, but cast lots for it to see who will get it." This was to fulfill what the scripture says, "They divided my clothes among them, and for my clothing they cast lots." And that is what the soldiers did.
From noon on, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. And about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, this man is calling for Elijah. At once, one of them ran and got a sponge, filled it with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to Jesus to drink. But the others said, wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. Then Jesus cried again with a loud voice and breathed his last.
My God, why have you left me here? Where are you now when I need you near? To rescue me, deliver me from fear. Please don't forsake me, my God, my God. Why have you left me here? Where are you now when I need you near? To rescue me, deliver me from fear. Please don't forsake me. Lord, answer me. Do you not hear my sighing all day and night? My eyes are sore from crying. your God. They taunt and terrorize me. Don't stay away, my God, my God. Why have you left me here? Where are you now when I need you near to rescue me, deliver me from fear? Please don't forsake me, my
When it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who was also a disciple of Jesus. He went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus, and Pilate ordered it to be given to him. So Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn from the rock. He then rolled a great stone to the door of the tomb and went away. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were there, sitting opposite the tomb.
For the last verse.